In this review, you can start it on Friday and finish it Monday. Some of you will be at the play, but you can pick it up or just wait till Monday to do it in class. But it's pretty long, so if you want to get a head start on it, you can start watching the video Friday, finish it on Monday. It is U8D. This is going to be very crucial to have on for your quiz on Tuesday, which, by the way, the quiz is on Tuesday. That quiz is Tuesday, May 1st. And you can use this on your quiz, so make sure you show what you're doing. Don't just write answers, show what you're doing. Okay, so get your calculators out. First one says change negative 23.98 degrees to degrees, minutes, and seconds. So if you remember what we're doing here, we're going to first type in negative 23.98. Type that in your calculator. Now to change this to degrees, minutes, seconds, we want to press second, app, which is really angle, and number 4 says DMS. See it, number 4? Press 4. It says change that to degrees, minutes, seconds. Press enter. You get negative 23 degrees, 58 minutes, 48 seconds. That's it. Read it right off the calculator. So make sure you press second, apps, number 4. That'll help you. Now, if it already is in degrees, minutes, seconds, and they want it to the nearest thousands, by the way, 1,000 has 3 zeros, so I want 3 decimal places. So on this one, you got to type these individually in. First this one, then this one, then this one, but on the same line. So you're going to type in 167. Then, when you do that, you're going to press second, apps, 1. Then you're going to press 51. Second, apps, see the little minute sign right there, number 2? Press 2. Now to get to seconds, that's in a totally different spot. To get seconds, you have to press alpha, this key right here. Press alpha and then plus. See we're down here? The little second sign right above it. Press plus, so it says 167 degrees, 51 minutes, 40 seconds. Press enter. Now because I want thousands, we want 3 decimal places. That 1 right here in the 4th spot does not round that 1. So it's 167.861 degrees. Don't forget this symbol right here. It's still a degree. It's just nearest thousands. For each of the following angles, we're going to sketch the angle in standard position. Let's do that first. 452. So remember, this is 90, 180, 270, 360, 450, 540, 630, 720. So if you're going to do 452, this is 360. There's 450. 452 stops a little past the y-axis. That's how you sketch it in standard position. So what quadrant is it in? The quadrant that it is in is quad 2. That's question 2. Well, that's question B. Question C, give a positive coterminal angle. So you're going to take 452 and you're going to add 360. So whenever you want coterminal, you add 360. So we're going to take 452 plus 360. Oops, that's not right. 452 plus 360. That's 812 degrees. That's one answer. But what if I did 452 minus 360? What would that give me? Since 452 is so big, that's also a positive coterminal angle. You can give me either one of these. Just give me one of them, though. You could have also said 92 degrees. Then it says give a negative coterminal angle. So then you're going to take 452 minus 360. It looks like twice because when just doing it once, I was still in the positive. So we're still up there. We're still right here. Just subtract 360 one more time. And that'll give you negative 268. So basically you're taking the original angle, subtracting 360 twice. And then what is the reference angle? So the reference angle, you come up here to the drawing. Draw in a terminal ray. You're going to draw a vertical line to the closest x-axis, and you're going to tell me this angle right here. So to get that angle, there's a couple ways to do it. You can take the 540, which is next, and take 540 minus 452. That's one way, which, by the way, is 88. So your answer is 88. E is 88. Or, when you remember when you're doing the coterminals, 812 is too big, but I like that 92. 92. If I said to sketch 92, you would have sketched this. So to find the reference angle using 92, you would have taken 180 minus 92, which is 88. You always subtract with the x-axis numbers, never the y-axis numbers. So 209. Now that's a normal looking thing. So first thing we're going to do is sketch it. This is 90, 180. I would say that's about 209. Say. B. What quadrant is in? Third. C. One positive coterminal angle. We're going to add 360 and get 569. D. One negative coterminal. Take 209 minus 360. Negative 151. And E. What is the reference angle? This is the hardest part. The reference angle. Go back to the picture. So in the reference angle, you're going to, where you stopped in your terminal side, you're going to go up to the closest x-axis and draw a 90-degree angle. We're trying to find this angle right here. So this is 180. This was 209. So you're going to find the difference of those. So you're going to take 209 minus 180. That's how you find the reference angle. 209 minus 180, which is 29 degrees. So we have to remember for reference angles, the little chart that I gave you. Angle, first of all, reference angle is between 0 and 90. So if it's given to you in the first quadrant, that is your answer. If it's given to you in the second quadrant, you're going to take it 180 minus whatever theta was. If it's in the third quadrant, you're going to take theta minus 180. If it's in the fourth quadrant, you're going to take 360 minus theta. So in that last one, it was in the third quadrant. So we took the given angle, 209, minus 180 to get 29. So let's separate all this fun stuff. So 643 is too big. I'm telling you right now, I'm not even going to work with 643, so let's go ahead and do the coterminals right now. 643 minus 360 is 283. This is the angle I'm working with. I'm not even going to work with 643. I'm going to work with 283. It's a coterminal and easier to work with. So first for the drawing, what quadrant does it end in? This is 270. So it's in the fourth quadrant. So B is in the fourth quadrant. This is A. C, a positive coterminal angle we actually just found is 283 degrees. It wasn't the original one, but it's still positive, and it's an easier one to work with. So it's coterminal because it's the same as 643, but we've already found a positive, another one that's different than the first one, so that's a good answer. And then take 283, or take 643, take the original one, subtract 360 twice for negative 77. That is negative, and that's a negative coterminal angle. E, to get E, where you stopped right here on the terminal side, go to the closest x-axis, draw in a right triangle. It's called a reference triangle. We're trying to find theta right here. So we're in the fourth quadrant, so you come up here. See this? Take 360 minus theta. Now we're not taking 643, that's too big, but we're going to take 360 minus the 283. So E is 360 minus 283. Which is 77. So remember, reference angles are positive, and they're between 0 and 90. 382, guess what? It's bigger than 360, so I'm not working with that one. So subtract 360, and you get 22. We're all going, everything's going to depend on 22 here. How do you draw 22? That's 22. Boom. First quadrant. Answer to B, first quadrant. C, positive coterminal angle. 22 is positive. It's different than 382, so that's a positive coterminal angle. To get a negative coterminal, start with 382 and subtract 360 twice. So you get negative 338 degrees. The reference angle, since it's in the first quadrant, whatever theta is your answer. Now 382 is not between 0 and 90, but 22 is. So 22 is positive, it's between 0 and 90, and it's 22 degrees from the x-axis. Negative 200. Let's add 360 to this. Let's work with 160. How do you draw 160? So 160 is about right there. How would you have drawn negative 200?
Here you go.
You should turn that in if you want 5 points.
What if we didn't finish?
You didn't finish this one?
I didn't. Oh, I finished.
You don't have to finish the unit circle. There's this U8B.
Do you have to turn in the unit circle?
No, don't turn in the unit circle. Turn in that U8B.
I did.
No, that's me, isn't it?
Oh, maybe. Probably.
So you can draw either way. I'll accept either answer. So like this or like this. It's still the same triangle. So question B, what quadrant is that in? Second quadrant. C, a positive coterminal angle with negative 200 is 160. It's different than the original one, and it's positive. Now, a negative one, you would take the negative 200 minus 360. That's the original one. Minus 360 is negative 560. And the reference angle is how many degrees does it take to get to the closest x-axis? It'd be 180 minus 160, which is 20. Negative 100, add 360 for 260. Draw that. 260. Right there. B, that's in the third quadrant. C, positive coterminal angle, 260. That's different than the first one. D, negative coterminal angle, start with negative 100, subtract 360 for a negative 460. And E, the reference angle is draw a triangle to the closest x-axis and tell me what actually in this case it's 260 because that's this right here, theta minus 180. So the theta is 260 minus 180, which is 80 degrees. That's your reference angle. If secant is 4 over 1, what is cosine? Well, cosine is the reciprocal of that, so cosine would be 1/4. It's just the flip of 4 over 1. If cotan is 5 over 1, what's tangent? 1 over 5. Flip it. Flip it. If sine is 3/8, what is cosecant? Cosecant is the flip of this, so it is 8/3. Find the values of the 6 trig functions for angle B. Circle B. We got to find the missing side here, so your Pythagorean theorem looks like this. The 8 is the hypotenuse that goes here. This is the leg, and it looks like we're solving for the x.
Were we not over far enough? No, we weren't.
64 minus 25 is 39, right? You square root this is square root of 39. So they want you to find all 6 trig. I don't like doing it like this, so I'm going to go sine of B, cosecant of B. Cosine of B, secant of B. Tangent of B, cotan of B. So the sine of B is opposite over hypotenuse, which means the cosecant is 8 over 5. The cosine of B is adjacent, radical 39 over 8, which makes this 8 over radical 39. The tangent of B is 5 over radical 39, which is radical 39 over 5. Done. This one, the missing side is 5. That's a Pythag triple. That's one of the ones you should know. Okay, find the values of the 6 trig ratios. So sine of, this says of Q. Sine of Q, cosine Q, tan Q. Cosecant Q, secant Q, cotan Q. So from Q, this is the opposite side. This is the adjacent side. So Q, sine is opposite of hypotenuse. That's 3/5. So that means cosecant is 5/3. Cosine is the adjacent, 4/5. So this is 5/4. They're all positive, by the way. And tangent is opposite over adjacent, 3/4, 4/3. Hey, get together with your partners and discuss last night's homework. And then I'm going to show you the answers here in about 4 or 5 minutes and see which ones you want me to go over. That multiple choice answer is B. And 14, we're going to draw that. This is 2 sides of a right triangle. You can't see it unless you graph it. So to plot 2, -3, you go right 2, down 3. Plot it, and it's in the 4th quadrant. What do we know if something's in the 4th quadrant? Well, for me, it means only the cosine is positive. Cosine and secant. So when I'm doing this, I'm aware of that. I'm very aware that only the cosine and secant are positive because of the fourth quadrant. So these two should be positive, both of these should be negative. So keep that in mind. Right angle, theta. Fill in your sides. So go right 2, and you went down 3. What is use the hypotenuse, the Pythagorean theorem, so you get 2 squared, 3 squared. Since the hypotenuse is positive, I don't even use the negatives. 4 plus 9 is 13. So this is square root of 13. So sine is opposite, which is negative 3. The opposite side is always the y-coordinate over the hypotenuse. We're not rationalizing, which means the cosecant is radical 13 over negative 3. Make sure they're both negative. Now the cosine should be positive because it's in the fourth quadrant. Cosine is adjacent, which is always the x, over the hypotenuse, which means secant is also positive. See, both those are positive. And the tangent is opposite over adjacent. These should both be negative. Negative 3/2, which makes this negative 2/3. Done. Now this is also two sides of a triangle. But we have to know what quadrant to draw the triangle in. Quadrant 3. That's quadrant 3. After you draw out the hypotenuse, then the vertical side goes up to the closest x-axis. Put in theta. It says tan. Now, if tan of theta is 3/4 and SOHCAHTOA, tangent is OA. So that's the opposite and that's the adjacent. But it's in the third quadrant, so watch this. The opposite side is 3, but it's not positive 3, it's going down. It's negative 3. The adjacent side is 4, but it's not positive 4, it's going left, so it's negative 4. So the tangent is negative 3 over negative 4, which is positive. It's showing up as a positive, but when you fill in the triangle, they're both negative. You have to be a really smart person to understand that, and I think that you guys can handle it since you're all going to college, right? Now, to get this hypotenuse, the hypotenuse is always positive. Even though these are both negative, the hypotenuse, no matter if these are negative or positive, doesn't matter. The hypotenuse is positive. So if you take 4 squared and 3 squared, you get 16 and 9, it's 25, and the hypotenuse is 5. That's one of your Pythag triples. Now, in this problem, it says they only want 2 of them. They want the sine, and they want the cosine. That's it. Tangent was given. So the sine. You're in the third quadrant. Only tangent's positive here, so both these answers will be negative. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so it's negative 3/5. I already got the negative there. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is negative 4/5. And you're done.